I apologize, guys. My mic is falling here. Good preparation here. Um, could we all agree though that that was the most frustrating game of the year? Can we just sit here and agree? My mic needs to cooperate. I apologize. Can we agree though? That was the most frustrating loss of the year. The team that finds ways to lose continues to find ways to lose. You think you've seen it all? Try yourself an inside the park home run in extra innings to lose the baseball game. Try the manager who is babying his best reliever in September. There are so many things to break down with this game where I don't know where to begin. This was the opportunity. Remember when I said a couple post games ago that, they had their opportunity to get their late comeback win and they failed? Remember that? This was the opportunity. And they failed. And that told me this game, if the last time I said it wasn't enough to convince you, this is the game. If this game does not convince you that this team is not going to get a late comeback win for 2025, I don't know what to tell you. But oh my goodness. Just horrible. Horrible. You need to sweep the series. You needed to sweep the series. And you have no one to blame but yourself. That first inning, not a good first inning for Noel McLean, but you know what? He's done what he's done, where he limits the damage, only allowing the one run. Okay? That second inning, mountain of errors. I mean, a mountain of errors. Francisco Lindor, could he make a simple play at shortstop? Juan Soto, could he field a ball in right field? Pete Alonso, how many garbage throws did he have tonight? Could you make a good throw over the first base? And then I don't know how they scored a wild pitch on the third run there. To me, Alvarez has to catch that ball. I know it's out of the zone a bit. Alvarez has to catch that ball. Pete Alonso, though, on that play as well. Another just poor throw. And then how about this offense doing literally nothing until the end? Could you show up the other, I don't know, the other 7 innings of the game, the first 7 innings of the game? Do you want to show up? Or no, we got to wait until late because this Nationals rotation and bullpen is full of world beaters that we got to show up late in the ball game. But in the 9th inning, or the 8th inning, I should start with rather. Soto strikes out. Pete gets hit by pitch. Nimmo hits into a force out. You get 2 outs. I'm thinking lost inning. Marte, though, hits a double. Mark Vientos comes up to pinch hit. Hits a double to make it 3-2. Here was the first of many decisions that I questioned from Carlos Mendoza. He decides to use Luis Angel Acuna to pinch run here. And here's why I'm going to tell you why I didn't like it. I get you could argue you should have done it there, hoping Alvarez comes through, who already had a couple hits on the day. But my argument is I want Acuna available in the 9th inning to run. And I want it where if this thing goes later into the game, I want Mark Vientos getting another at bat. So there's your first issue. But then we get to the 9th inning. Luis Torrens pinch hits for Beatty, gets a single, great. Mullins bunts the guy over, perfect. Bunts Siri over, I should say, because he comes in the pinch run. Lindor gets hit by a pitch. Juan Soto, once again coming through. tying the game up at 3. You get the double steal. Here is your opportunity to just end the game here. 2 pitches to Alonso. It's actually walked. And then how about Brandon Nimmo giving you a weak at bat? How about that at bat by him? And then Starling Marte. Oh my goodness. I cannot stand how many times this guy watches pitches just go right by him in the strike zone. And you know what? I did forget a questionable Mendoza decision that did work out. Ryan Helsley coming in the ninth inning there. Why? Why? My opinion was this. And to me, this could have gone 2 ways. How you handle the ninth inning. Even though Helsley worked out, but this is why I would not have elected to use Ryan Helsley in the ninth inning. What have we said about Tyler Rogers ad nauseum? He is only good with nobody on base. It's the bottom part of the Nationals order. Just go ahead and use Rogers there and have Diaz on the ready to get multiple outs. To me, it wasn't rocket science what you needed to do there, which again, sure, it worked out. And Helsley, sure, he's probably 3 consecutive outings away from being back in the circle of trust, even though he really wasn't ever in it as a Met. But in my mind, that was a questionable decision, just process-wise. Just base process-wise, it worked out, though. Diaz comes in the 10th inning, makes it as easy of work as possible. Throwing 7 pitches. The 10th inning. You get, I don't know if you should say it's a gift or not, the Acuna thing, because he bunts, and there's an argument that maybe they should have ended up calling him out there for interference. But in my opinion, and this is where I disagree with Gary and Ron, because they were saying, oh, they should have called interference. Where do you want Acuna to go there? He's running in the base path to first base. Where do you want him to go? Marte needs to advance there. He doesn't. And the problem with Marte not advancing is now you either have to double steal, you have to bunt with Alvarez, or you have to hope Alvarez gets a hit here. And if Marte advanced to third, Acuna, you can have him steal second, and it eliminates the double play because, of course, Alvarez hits into a double play. And initially, I didn't mind Alvarez going up there swinging the bat, but Matt brought up a good point in the group chat. How many times have we seen Juan Soto going up there bunting? How many times have we seen Lindor going up there bunting? Alvarez could lay down a bunt here. He should lay down a bunt here. And if he does, Mauricio hits that ball into the outfield, and we're all fat and happy leaving with a win. But unfortunately, we don't live in a world of ifs. And then Carlos Mendoza. I want to know if he has a calendar in the office. I want to know if he knows what part of the season it is. It's September, man. We're down to single-digit games left. Why are we babying Edwin Diaz in September when we do not have a playoff spot clinched, nor do we have enough of a cushion, at the very least, to justify not using Diaz for a second inning after throwing 7 pitches? This is the time to go full throttle. This is it. And unfortunately, get the fielder's choice. Abrams, really poor base running. You catch a break there. And Lyle hits one off the wall in the outfield. And what is Cedric Mullins doing? He has to play that off the wall. And I don't just blame Cedric Mullins because does Nimmo or Soto want to go out there and help Mullins field that ball and back him up there? No? You want to win a championship, but you're not willing to do the little things to prevent runs? Okay. Then good luck. Good luck in October if that's how you're going to help out your center fielder there. Good luck. Inside the park home run. And you knew the Mets weren't winning this game. You just knew. Mullins, weak pop out. Shocking. Lindor lines out. Soto, competitive at bat, goes down looking. You were gifted this game by the Nationals, and you you pissed all over yourself, which is the story of the team this season. I mean, you go 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Like, that's the other thing. None of this would have mattered. None of what I broke down at the end would have mattered if this offense simply showed up the first 7 innings of the ball game, or if they just put the damn game away in the 9th inning. Again, they have no one to blame but themselves in this game, between the poor defense, between not scoring until the 8th inning, between pissing on yourself when you had opportunities in the 9th and 10th inning to bury the game. No one to blame but yourself. And this manager, if this is how he's going to manage in October with the closer, if this is what he's going to do with Edwin Diaz, then we have serious problems. We have serious problems here if this is the way he's going to handle Edwin Diaz. Because how is he not going back out there for a second inning? You had this right in your hands. And you got so fortunate. Like, credit to Brazaban and Lovelady giving you the volume they did for this bullpen to bridge it, to let the other guy, I don't know if I want to say higher leverage because of Helsley, but to bring your Helsleys in, to bring Diaz in, Rogers in, which Rogers, again, not good enough. But that's another conversation about Mendoza. How many times does he need to see Tyler Rogers come in with a runner on base to realize, yeah, maybe this isn't a good idea? Crazy concept, right? Crazy. I don't know how many times he needs to see it, but that's the problem I have with this manager is that he doesn't learn lessons. It's one thing to make mistakes every now and then. It's another if you don't learn from the mistakes. And you have seen this movie before. Every single time Rogers is allowed to run as a Met, I am willing to put money on the fact that it is when he's coming in with runners on base. I'm willing to place any amount of money on it. I don't know if someone wants to fact check that or not. Feel free to. I'm not doing it. But all I know is that it has to be the case. It just simply has to. But hey, good thing you saved some bullets with Edwin Diaz for tomorrow, right? I cannot believe it. Like, it is known too. This is what drives me insane. Do you know your own players? It's known that Edwin Diaz does better when he's pitching often. It's a known thing. This manager's going to be the death of me. Man, what a horrible way to lose. What a horrible loss. You better win the series tomorrow because then you're entering a territory where you got to sweep one of the Cubs or Marlins. You have to. I'm trying not to go full crash out right now, but oh my goodness, that that was the worst loss of the season by far. By far the worst. Whoever's decision it was to not tell Alvey to bunt in the 10th needs to be fired tonight. I've never seen a team with this high of a payroll lack so many fundamentals. The defense, just like you said, the basic fundamentals. That inside the park home run. Again, I get Mullins played that poorly. Where is Nimmo or Soto to back that play up? Like they had a wide shot of center field and you don't even see them on your TV screen. Yeah, the atrocious defense all night. Or all afternoon, night, whatever. It ended at night, so I'm saying night. And it's so infuriating how we might look back at this season if they end up missing the playoffs and say they missed simply because they couldn't beat the Washington Nationals multiple times when they had opportunities. And this is why going into this series, I couldn't sit here and say I'm confident. I said you better sweep, but I wasn't confident because they always do this shit against the Nationals and the Marlins every year. I'm asking the same question. I don't get it, Brian. Mullins is useless. The problem is Jose Siri's not much better. I didn't recap yesterday's game. Matt did. Thank you again to him for doing that. Jose Siri can't make a routine play in the outfield. I mean, it's just horrible. I can't say they're an 8-inning team. They didn't show up until the 8th inning today. They're a 2-inning team at most 3. Because how many times have I broke down games where they score runs in 1 or 2 innings and the occasional inning where they'll get 1 run, like they'll have a 3rd inning where there's like 1 run. The occasional time. How many times have I talked about this all season long? All of last year too at points. Mendoza babies his pitchers while Barry clinging onto a playoff spot. Meanwhile, the Nationals closer throws 40 pitches while they're locked into last in the division. And not only that, I know it backfired. So this might not be the best example, but I brought it up in my group chat that I'm in with Matt and a couple of others. How about the fact that they put Jose Ferrer in, who's their best reliever, against the best part of the Mets order? How about that as well? And again, I know it backfired on him, but Mendoza should take notes that you don't have to use your closer necessarily in the 9th inning exclusively. But it'd be cool if you use them for multiple outs tonight because 7 pitches and you take him out. This was the game to break the streak. What a momentum switch it would have been, especially going into the playoffs. And they needed this kind of win because all I've wanted was for this team to find a way to get a comeback win late at some point this season going into October to make me feel a little bit better going into it and be like, okay, at least they showed for one game they have the capability of coming back late. But this team's inability to play in close games and inability to come back late is going to haunt them in October. Because you know what? If you're going to disagree, you know what your only argument against what I just said is? They're due. And when you enter their due territory, that's a problem. They're due. No one's due for anything. Just stop. I'm due for $1 billion. Give me a break. One ugly and unacceptable game from the whole team. The amount of shit playing they do against these awful teams is crazy. If we played average baseball, we would be neck and neck with the Phillies. They play down the competition. Matt has said it all year. I've said it all year. Carson on Mets Weekly said it all year. So many of us have said it all year. They play down to their opponents way too much. And sure, you could argue in October it's better that you could beat the good teams, but one, you need to get to October, and how are you going to do that when you can't beat the bad teams? And number two, some of those habits trickle into playing against the good teams that are going to exploit those flaws. It is the most frustrating loss easily. And Marte's a disgrace. I don't want him back. I don't care about his leadership in the clubhouse. If he's back next year, major problem. No thanks on DH that doesn't swing the bat. Some teams find ways to win, others find ways to lose. Bad teams find ways to lose. And I'm not saying you could argue if the Mets are good, bad, mediocre, below average, above average, whatever. I do not care. The fact of the matter is, bad teams find ways to lose. The Mets found a way to lose. Make of that what you will, which they continue to do. And they're also showing that every time they shove the "we have talent" line down our throats, why we shouldn't listen to it. Because I don't care how much talent you have in the room. I don't care one bit. Play the right way. This is the problem. I mean, all season, the Marlins giving them fits, the Nationals giving them fits, the A's, Orioles, Twins, Pirates, Braves, White Sox. You play even 25% better against those teams and you clinch a playoff spot by now. And you either are having home field against the Cubs or you're going to Wrigley Field, most likely. It needs to stop. He can't come in with runners on base. And this manager just never learns from his mistakes. And that's why I can't sit here and tell myself this team's winning a World Series with him manning the ship. I just can't. Because this happens way too much. I know we say it all the time. Mendoza can't come, uh, but Mendoza can't come back next year. I'm sorry. The inability to learn from mistakes is a fundamental flaw in something I'm not willing to wait around for him to correct. And I don't know if he even is going to correct it, because how many times is it going to happen before he does learn from making the same mistakes over and over again? I didn't feel this way just because I knew with Diaz coming in for the 10th inning, they would still have a chance because he would lock it down. Once it didn't come through in the 10th, I knew they were losing, though. To me, that was the nail in the coffin. They might have to sweep Miami, and I can't say that's happening. Whatever happens this year, next year, the expectation should be to win a World Series, and he has not shown anything to prove that he's the guy that will manage them to the promised land. Exactly what I just said before. And I know you commented it before, but I'm just saying it's exactly the same thought that I had before. Yeah. Like, I don't think he's the guy unless he proves otherwise, which go ahead, prove me wrong. I don't think I'm going to get proven wrong. Yeah. Once again, And this is another just under the radar conversation. How about the fact that McLean's kind of been getting the DeGrom treatment through his first however many starts, 7, 8 starts, whatever we're at. How about that? He gets no run support. Yep. They don't back up plays. And this is why, I said a few weeks ago, not to talk off season, but you could live with one of those guys in Juan Soto being that way because of the fact that he's so good offensively. But when you have two corner outfielders that don't play good defensively, it's a problem. It just is a problem. Yeah. Soto bunted in the first inning of the game, but Alvarez can't lay down a bunt. Yep. Remember all these games here that Game Shorts for You has listed if they don't make it. Just remember all those. Their due just means they suck. It's what Jets fans say. And I apologize to any Jets fans in the chat. That's what Jets fans say. We're due. You're not due. Just stop. Jake Irvin, 0-6 with a 10 ERA the last 7 games. Pack the season up if they lose. I mean, if they lose tomorrow, I don't think they're making the playoffs. Because then, I'm sorry, you have to sweep both series. You have to. Because to me, to comfortably make it, I said you got to at least win every series and probably sweep one. You lose a series, you might have to sweep both to make it comfortably, at least. Maybe at all. I have no clue. And I don't know what we're doing with Brandon Nimmo in the cleanup spot still. I really have no clue what that's about anymore. He's been just brutal lately. But nope, let's just keep throwing him in the cleanup spot. Yeah, exactly. This is the point. So frustrating. Well, tomorrow, they look to avoid losing series. Going to be very difficult, honestly, to watch tomorrow's game because got football on and preseason hockey, which I'm probably just going to DVR that game and watch it later. But between this and football tomorrow, I'd like to watch those live. So that's going to be interesting to do. But who knows? Maybe it's for the better. If I'm not giving my full attention to Jake Irving, just sticking it up the Mets ass. Maybe I'm better off. You better win tomorrow. That's really all I could say. You better freaking win tomorrow. Thank you everyone for watching. Yes, Rangers Central's back tomorrow. Can't tell you when I'm doing the post game tomorrow, but I will do the post game at some point tomorrow for that preseason game. But anyway, leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.